Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Hello. Hey, a lot of headroom.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. How you doing?
Welcome to the Wulff Den podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. There are actually a lot of stories.
There is a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories that are like mini stories inside one big story.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean because I saw the document and I saw I saw how you organized it.
Formatted. Yeah, I did formatting in this week's Wulff Den podcast.
Yes. Anyway, the main thing that we're getting into is the Game Awards. I'm gonna vote
Live.
Yeah, I'm gonna live vote for my game of the or the whole thing. I'm gonna do the whole thing. Now I think it's important to say that we are not voting for what we think will win.
Correct.
And I think that that's important.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of idiots in the world.
Oh, yo.
Not just in this little gaming sphere that we're in. There's a lot of idiots who don't vote for who they want.
Yeah.
They vote for who they think will win.
Right.
And that takes a certain type of idiot, doesn't it?
It sure does. Let me tell you.
So I'm going to vote for who I liked.
Yeah.
And who I think deserves it the most.
Right.
I didn't play everything.
Me neither. I'm pretty sure I played less than you.
Yeah, you know, I think last year I didn't play a single Game of the Year nominee. This year I did.
I'm going to be offering my commentary and my opinions based on what the popular zeitgeist seems to be on the games. Like judging.
Are you going to vote?
I'm not going to vote.
Wow.
I'm going to abstain.
Typical.
Because I'm an uninformed voter. I did not have experience with any of these video games.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So that's how I'm partaking in this. I'm just going to offer some commentary based on what I've read, both critically and also to what the fan base seems to be saying for everything. That said, at least for Game of the Year, there are 2 nominees that are kind of controversial that we'll talk about, and I got articles for those too.
2,
yes.
Okay.
Well, 2 nominees, and then there are games that didn't get nominated that maybe should have.
Do I need to log in? I need to log in.
Oh, it's one of those types of deals. But it's not just the Game of the Year awards, the Jeff Keighley awards. We're going over that Phil Spencer interview that he did at Bloomberg. GOG is doing some good stuff with game preservation. Half-Life 2 had a big anniversary, and more.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
Let's do this.
Well, also we got Kira with the 27 months. Happy Tuesday, guys, and happy 27 months. Really happy to see Neva get 3 nominations. Spoilers! And Animal Well in both indie sections. Spoilers, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Rise Frog, thanks for the 40 months. What's up, Wolf Bros? I've voted Balatro. Spoilers! For all the nominations, it got Metaphor is really good, though, but Balatro somehow managed to infect every person in my family and my sister's fiance's family, and I love the game. Yeah, a little bit of spoilers, but Balatro's in this, so I'm excited. I got skin in the game. And Caleb Fox, thanks for the 27 months, and Blackbird, thanks for the 31 months. Hey, Bob, love your content that involves 3D printing. Any videos on the horizon with the Prusa XL? Yes, probably. Nothing. I mean, yes, definitely. I don't know when it'll happen though, because unfortunately, whenever I'm making a video on making something, it takes forever. So,
did you see? I'm seeing this a lot more now with the PlayStation 5 Pro. People are just 3D printing their own stands, especially to lay it horizontally.
Yeah, when I tweeted about it, a lot of people sent me files to print my own. Also, Wood sent me the Pizza Hut made a 3D printed. They made the files available for a pizza warmer that you put on top of the.
Yes, I've seen those. Yeah,
and I tried to print it, but it's too tall, and I don't care enough to make it work.
Right.
You know.
See, you said Pizza Hut. This is way off topic. You said Pizza Hut, and I thought you were going to talk about the Pizza Hut wine that they make.
Oh,
because my friend Jake recently sent me a picture of the Pizza Hut wine.
Oh no.
Which is a real wine that kind of tastes like pizza. Why are you giving me that look? Why are you looking at me like I made that up?
I feel like you may have made that up.
No.
Underscore, thanks for the 81 months. Why does it taste like pizza?
Because it's Pizza Hut. What else are they going to make it taste like?
Wine! Make it taste like wine!
It's made from tomatoes. That's why.
Wait, that actually, I don't hate that idea. I don't hate that idea. Astute viewers will notice I changed this wide camera. The color's all fucked up. We'll fix it later. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's good. Next podcast.
Next podcast sure will be great. I also tried to fix the echo. I think I did it. We'll see.
Okay.
I yelled. Maybe it echoed. Maybe it didn't. Anyway, let's get into the Game Awards. What is the first one?
First one starts off strong. Game of the Year.
They're starting with Game of the Year?
They always start with Game of the Year. That's the only one people actually care about.
Okay.
You know? Nobody votes in local elections. It's only in the national elections. Okay.
We'll start with Game of the Year.
All right, Game of the Year. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. We got Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio.
Now, I know why one of these is controversial. I think you said there were two that were controversial.
Yes. Well, one is controversial, and one is, I guess you could like maybe not consider it controversial, but odd that it's included.
Okay.
So I'll start with the controversial one. A few days before they announced the nominees for Game of the Year, the Game Awards updated their FAQ section on their website with a new question, a new frequently asked question. Are DLCs, expansion packs, and remakes/remasters eligible? And their answer was, the Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's released. Expansion packs, new game sessions, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as the newness of the content and its price or value should be taken into consideration. Basically, people saw this and automatically assumed that Shadow of the Erd Tree was going to get nominated for Game of the Year. And it was.
And it was.
Yes.
So, and a lot of people have some opinions on that. And
yes.
I think that they have a reason to be a little upset that a DLC can make it into Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the DLC is that good, I think that maybe it could be involved in a conversation. I would care a lot less if it was a standalone DLC. Like, I think that Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon was up for some nominations around that time. That was pre-Game Awards. But that would warrant something because that's like almost a whole new game. You don't need the original game to get
right.
The argument against this, which I also understand, is that Elden Ring won like a lot of Game of the Year awards. It won a lot of awards already. And this is the same game with a DLC on top.
Yeah.
So of course it's gonna win. Like if you're putting it back in the running, like that's like making a director's cut of a movie.
Yeah,
like,
Elden Ring won the 2022 Game Awards for Game of the Year.
Yeah, and this, this is a DLC, so I'm imagining they're only talking about the DLC and not the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of the same.
And I know, like, it would be different if it was like a substantially different experience, like if it was Undead Nightmare from Red Dead Redemption, because like that actually changed the game.
And wasn't that standalone? Didn't you play that by itself?
Well, no, you needed the game
in
order to play Undead Nightmare. That's another thing too. You need Elden Ring in order to play Shadow of the Erd Tree. The Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC, like I think, is in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like without the base game, it's nothing really.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Now, I heard someone say that The Witcher 3, one of their DLCs, won 1 year.
For Game of the Year?
I don't know. Maybe it won in a different category. This is just something I heard in Jackson's chat.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is the actual game, won in 2015.
Okay.
So,
Pinology says you need to play 20 to 30 hours and some optional bosses in order to play Shadow of the Erdtree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird. This is like end game content.
Yeah.
That is now up for Game of the Year. It's very bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I am like of two minds of it. Like,
I'm leaning more towards I don't like it anymore.
like, I understand like Shadow of the Erdtree is like a substantial addition to the game, and if it was released as like its own game outside of Elden Ring, it probably would be worthy of Game of the Year. But the fact that it is not only a part of Elden Ring, requires Elden Ring to play, like that kind of like, you know, sits a little funny with me.
It also turns it into like $120 game or something.
Yeah.
Wizard of the Coin says they literally have a best ongoing category. Yeah, this should be a best ongoing situation.
But that's another thing, because last year there was controversy over whether Cyberpunk should be considered an ongoing game.
Oh, because they fixed it?
Yeah. And now this year, it's not nominated for best ongoing anymore because it's not ongoing anymore.
Cyberpunk. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ongoing means they did stuff to an old game. That's how I imagine. That's how I interpret it.
See, I always imagine ongoing as like a live service game, like a Fortnite or a... Yeah, Cyberpunk is not that. Cyberpunk was supposed to be a regular-ass single-player game that they made ongoing because they were trying to fix it.
I didn't like that they put Cyberpunk in that category because they fucked it up first and then fixed it. Yeah. I think that ongoing should be, it was always good and they're going to keep changing things up with it, you know? I think that it's like a little bit of an excuse to put Cyberpunk there.
Yeah.
Because then you can like stack the deck by releasing a bad game and then making it good later.
Yeah.
But that's not, I don't want to discredit them for turning the ship around, you know? I think that that's worth something. But I would say Elden Ring, I would say that having a DLC that is really good should fit within best ongoing.
Right. Thank you to legitimate Wulff Den fan who said that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine expansion pack won the best role-playing game from the Game Awards.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But that's like the same thing. You know, in 2016, out of all the role-playing games that came out in 2016, the best role-playing game was the one from 2015.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
what we're talking about. That's
weird.
Part of the problem.
I don't think I like it that much.
Yeah.
I think that there should be room for other games. Get out of the way. You had your time.
Yeah.
Especially because you won. Especially because the game won.
Yeah, and obviously, like, you know, honor DLC if it's that good. Have a DLC category or an additional content category.
If it was like a DLC that was like a full game and way different than the original game, sure. There could be an argument there. This, I don't think, is it. And I think what's more egregious is that you shouldn't play Elden Ring because it is on the woke game list. It contains overly pro LGBTQ plus messaging, uses body type in place of biological sex during character creation. The nerve of them!
See, I'm glad you brought this up because there's a lot of games like this in the Game Awards, and we got to tell people.
And we got to reference. I have the Excel spreadsheet here. I will be referencing this frequently.
You know what game I know is not on that list? Black Myth Wukong.
I literally looked it up and it says it's blue. It says contains no woke content.
Okay.
You know why? Because I don't think there's a single woman in it at all. Only monkey.
But you know what Black Myth Wukong is? It is according to Polygon, the lowest rated game to ever be nominated for Game of the Year. In the entire 10-year history of the Game Awards.
That is very interesting. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
That game looks mid as fuck. I've never played it. It does not look that good. It looks like just another third-person action game.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
And that's what disappoints me about Game of the Year.
Yeah.
It's almost all third-person action games. And I'm sick of it.
It currently has an 81 on Metacritic, which Polygon double-checked this factoid, scanning both score aggregators for every game of Game of the Year nominees since the Game Awards debuted in 2014, and found it to be mostly true. The one weird outlier is PlayerUnknown's Battleground, which scored a 77 on OpenCritic, but an 86 on Metacritic. So aside from that one weird outlier, Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game to ever be nominated for a Game of the Year award at the Game Awards.
That's very weird.
And honestly, like, it doesn't surprise me. Like you said, the game looks mid. Most of the reviews were like, it's fine. It's kind of boring at most parts. It's kind of a boss rush thing. There's nothing really special about it. But
that's because the woke the hive mind that rates these games, they don't like how anti-woke the company that made it is.
Well, Black Myth Wukong has been a centerpiece of the culture war within gaming after IGN posted a biased investigative article alleging sexism at the developer Game Science in November 2023, speaking to several women in the Chinese gaming industry about misogynistic remarks by men at the studio, including CEO Feng Ji. Now, obviously, a woman wrote that article, so of course they would be biased.
I honestly think that the game became like a symbol for some people, and they wanted to like it so bad.
But okay, those people, I mean, they were enough to sway a presidential election, but they're usually not enough to sway the Game Awards, you know, because they're a more trustworthy election process.
Yeah, I don't know.
My point is, something funny is going on here for Black Myth Wukong to be nominated for Game of the Year. I know that people spent a lot of money on advertising for the Game Awards.
Oh,
I'm not accusing Jeff Keighley of taking Chinese bribery,
but
I
think that there is a lot of 10-cent hands in this.
I'm not above like just making wild conspiracy theory allegations anymore. You know?
Conspiracy theories have become the reality.
Yes.
No, I could see that. I mean, so fan voting accounts for 10% of the overall. Right. So probably not that much. Yeah. And people are very upset about that. How fan voting, it doesn't account for the whole for enough. It doesn't account for a lot. But just like in real life, most people are dumb.
Yes.
And I'm throwing myself in here too. I'm going to be voting for the games that I played, you know, or the games that I want to win.
Right.
If you made it all fan voting, only the popular games would win.
Right.
And that's not good.
Yeah. Because, like, most of the time, like, the best-selling game of the year every year is a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
But, like, the actual best game of the year is not. So.
Yeah. So, anyway, of these games, I played Astrobot, and everybody loves Astrobot. I love Astrobot. I think it's a very good game.
Yeah.
Recently, people have been comparing it to Mario Odyssey. No comparison.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey is phenomenal. Astrobot is also very good. I think they're two very different types of platformers. Right. I think Astrobot excels in like set pieces and having things happen in the world and stuff, where Mario focuses a lot more on platforming and rewarding you for doing weird stuff. Astrobot is good, but I don't think it's Game of the Year good. But I appreciate that it's here because it's a little different than the usual third-person action games that we get in even though it is kind of a third-person action game, but at least it's a platformer. The only other game that I played was Balatro, and I gotta tell you, I fucking love Balatro. And Balatro being one of the Game of the Years is incredible because it's an indie game. One guy made it. I think it was a side project that he never expected to go anywhere. Yeah. And this just means that a lot of the people who are on the jury, the people who vote for Game of the Year, enough of them love this game enough. Yeah. And this is so different than anything we ever get in the main Game of the Year category. Yeah. So this being here is awesome. I wish that we would get more stuff like this because I'm so sick of third-person action games from AAA developers. Right. Because they're all the goddamn same.
Speaking of third-person action games from major developers, two games that were not nominated for Game of the Year that everyone thought would be nominated were Helldivers 2 and the new Dragon Age game. Because those were both really popular and they reviewed very well.
Dragon Age did?
Yes.
People didn't like that.
Well, because it was woke, Bob.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I gotta.
It lectures you on how to apologize to a trans person.
What's the name of it?
Dragon Age: The Veilguard, I think.
Not recommended. Contains overly pro LGBT plus, and overly pro DEI messaging. pronoun selection included an option for they, them. How dare they? Option for your character to have trans surgery.
Yeah.
Stars. Oh, okay. Character creation includes vitiligo sliders. How dare they? The nerve of them! I didn't know that could get you a red marking on the list. Out of place diversity. There's no place for diversity in my game. I did hear that there is one mission or like storyline in the game that is like really heavy on the.
Oh yeah,
on this. I
think.
So I'll give you this. But the vitiligo spider is a little crazy.
And yeah, Helldivers 2 was like a cultural phenomenon for a long time in this year, and it's not even.
Helldivers 2 should be up for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And Metaphor Refantasio like just came out.
Yeah.
So that being here is a little weird. People love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
So I understand that, and I'll give them that.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely voting for Balatro.
Right.
I wish that there were more games like this in Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even a card game guy.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're not a card game guy, and here you are hyping up a card game.
Yeah. So we have Best Game Direction. That's the next one.
It's all the same games. Award for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
So this is every year. These are mostly the same. Sometimes there'll be like one or two that's different.
Yeah.
These are mostly the same as the Game of the Year nominees.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like a runner-up category.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, the games that win Best Direction don't win Game of the Year. So it feels like oh, you weren't good enough to be Game of the Year, but you're good enough to win Best Direction. And that is kind of stupid, but to me, there are some games that I think deserve Game of the Year that might not necessarily deserve Best Game Direction. Like, for example, I think Balatro deserves Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of these other games might have it's a harder task to direct these other games because the guy who made Balatro was one guy.
Yeah.
He's not directing anybody.
Yeah.
He's directing himself. The guy who made Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is directing a team of like 200 people. You know, that's like I think that's a bigger deal. So that's a case where I think that they might not necessarily align the Game of the Year and the Best Game Direction. So I don't think Balatro gets Best Game Direction.
Right.
I don't know. I only played Astrobot. Astrobot was great, and I think the game direction in that is amazing. But
this might be the category they give to Shadow of the Erdtree, because why else would they nominate it for Game of the Year? They obviously want to give this game an award.
Yeah,
but they probably feel like they can't give it Game of the Year.
Yeah,
so they'll give it game direction.
Yeah, and Elden Ring has great game direction, and I think that they like the director of that game.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. I will not be voting for that because I don't think it should be here at all.
Right.
I don't know what to do. I guess I'll vote for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I also think that Black Myth Wukong probably had decent game direction, even though it's a mid game. I feel like it probably had decent game direction. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, people love that, and it seems like a big, grand experience that would be hard to direct.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna vote for that.
Okay.
Farmer Gooch with $20. Sorry, I missed last week. Yo, no problem, dude. You don't gotta keep giving us money, but I do appreciate it. Best narrative
for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game.
I haven't played any of these games.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantasio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
Narrative? I'm not gonna vote for any of these because I haven't played enough of them.
I mean, Silent Hill 2, I don't know if why would you give that best narrative when it's the same narrative from a 20-year-old game? You know?
Yeah, it would have to be distinctly different.
Yeah, and as far as I know, it's not.
Or have gameplay elements that directly interact with the narrative that are different than they were back in the day.
Well, they changed the camera, Bob, so it's a completely different game.
Senua's Saga is probably it. Either that or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. People, again, love the story in that.
I don't know. Everybody loves, like, the Yakuza stories, Like a Dragon, so I don't know. This is a tough one.
I'm gonna skip it.
All right, that's fair.
Best art direction.
For outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in the artistic design and animation, Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Earth Tree, Metaphor Refantasio, and Neva.
I'm glad Neva's there because that's
Yeah.
another indie game. And it looks beautiful. Again, though, why is Elden Ring there? That's so weird because the art direction, it looks
the same.
It looks exactly like the rest of the game. Astrobot does have great art direction because of the little robots and how they make them look like PlayStation characters.
Yes.
I don't know who gets this. I like Astrobot's art direction. Neva looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine Metaphor has some good art direction.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm split between Astrobot and Neva.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a Neva just to shake things up here.
All right, there you go.
Best score and music.
For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and/or licensed soundtrack, Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade.
Was that taken off the approved list?
It is not on the woke games list.
Okay.
I just went to look.
Because I remember they released a costume that covered up her labia, and that like sent everybody into a tailspin.
Not the labia.
Yeah.
You got to leave that out.
I know.
Listen, I've never listened to Stellar Blade. Listen, Astrobot has great music.
Yeah.
I'm not like,
I feel like this is what you give Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
That always has great music.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a Final Fantasy.
Astrobot has one great song that plays all the time throughout the whole game, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, Final Fantasy VII probably.
Best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Astrobot, Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua's Saga, and Silent Hill 2.
So I actually played a little bit of Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, it comes out every year. It gets a lot of flack because it's the same every time.
Yeah.
But their audio is amazing in Call of Duty, and the way that the guns sound and feel is they do an amazing job at that. That is usually overlooked because the game just feels the same every year. But when other games try to do something similar, you miss it.
Yeah.
So I do think that Call of Duty deserves to be in best audio design. I'm not going to vote for it, though.
Right. Well, Silent Hill 2, it's a horror game, so like that lives and dies by its audio design, and like that series has always been top tier when it comes to audio design. Senua's Saga, that the whole big part of that game is she hears voices. Mm-hmm. So the audio design is very important to that, and the character's like mental health progression throughout the game.
Astrobot has a lot of really good attention to detail stuff. Like there's a lot of audio coming through the controller. Yeah. And every material that you step on sounds different. Yeah. And there's just a lot of attention to detail that was put into Astrobot's sound design. I'm giving it to Astrobot.
All right.
Best performance.
Awarded to an individual for voice acting, motion, and or performance capture. Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure. Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2. And Melina Juergens for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now, obviously, this is going to go to Luke Roberts because he's the only white guy being nominated.
Right.
And we have to support white men.
Yes.
Especially if they're straight.
Outnumbered.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the only game that I played was Star Wars Outlaws.
Right.
But it was okay. It was okay. I have to vote for Brianna White because I met her one time.
Really?
Yes. She's friends with Dan.
Oh, got it.
Innovation in accessibility.
Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, Star Wars Outlaws.
Diablo 4? That come out this year?
I guess. It's hard to keep up.
No. Came out last year. Well, that's initial release date. Sometimes that's wrong.
Did they?
Oh, it came out last year.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What's that about?
Maybe they added
They
accessibility features this year.
They just close their eyes and just pick random games. Big expansion this year. Okay. So put the name of the expansion then. All right. Call of Duty does have a lot of accessibility options. I don't think they're as like crazy. Like when I think of this category, I'm always thinking of like the Naughty Dog stuff.
Yeah.
They do like some crazy stuff
Mhm.
with the accessibility options. Prince of Persia also has some crazy accessibility. They have it to the point where like you can like change the timing of like attacks and stuff, I think. I haven't really messed with I don't think Star Wars Outlaws has that much. I don't know. Maybe Prince of Persia for having those types of options. I also played Prince of Persia. I got to call out all the games. This category has 3 games that I played.
Oh,
amazing. I'm going to give it a Prince of Persia.
All right, there you go.
Games for Impact, otherwise known as the woke game category.
For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Closer the Distance, Indica, Nevia, Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2.
This has been a category since before woke was a thing.
I know. And I'm still not exactly sure what it means.
Indica looks cool.
Oh, I missed one. Tales of Kenzura Zhao.
Oh, everyone missed that one. This is the one that looks exactly like Prince of Persia.
Wasn't this the one where like people were like the developer like based it on like his father's life story and everyone said he was just adding diversity to it?
Probably.
Yeah. I think that's
usually how it goes is when there's like a different culture that you're not familiar with. It's because the guy who made it is putting himself in.
Yeah.
Indica looks really cool. If you haven't seen the trailer for that, you should look at it because it's cool. I don't know any of these. Otherwise, and also, what am I voting for? Am I voting because they have a social impact? I think that's what I'm supposed to be voting for.
I mean, the only game I know that had a social impact was Indica, but that's because I see the ad for it all the time.
I'm gonna skip this.
Okay. Best ongoing. Here we are. Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2.
Best ongoing. It's weird to put an ongoing game that came out this year.
Yeah.
That also does not look like Fortnite.
I mean, I will say Helldivers 2, for the short amount of time it's been out, like they've been really like responsive to like community feedback and like answering questions and fixing things that were wrong.
That is true. Yeah. They were pretty receptive to the issues people had with the game.
Yeah.
People love Final Fantasy 14.
Mm-hmm.
I love Destiny, but Destiny 2 is not a good ongoing game.
Right.
I want to go to Helldivers 2 just because I'm biased because I played that. Fortnite, it's been the same. They haven't really done much.
Right.
I literally just played it. It's the same fucking game. I want to give a shout out to Final Fantasy 14 though, because that's gotten a lot of updates recently that people really love.
Yeah.
But that's in this category like every year, I think.
Yeah. So it was Fortnite.
I think I'm gonna give it to Helldivers, even though that feels weird though, because that game came out this year.
Right.
So it feels like it shouldn't be in this category.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's so good it does deserve to be in this category.
But it did come out in like February.
Yeah.
I'll give it.
All right.
That's why I think Helldivers wasn't part of a lot of these other categories, is because it came out so long ago.
Best community support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky.
Ooh. Interesting.
Again, I feel like everything we just said about Helldivers 2 applies again.
Yeah, because we were talking about the community support. Baldur's Gate 3 also has good community support. No Man's Sky should have been nominated for Best Ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Helldivers.
All right. Next up, best indie game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50.
Finally, a category I feel like I can actually talk about. Animal Well, I played it, and that is an amazing game. It's very good. It would not have had anywhere near the impact if it wasn't considered Donkey's game.
Right. Which is unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. It is very good. I don't think it was one of the best games of the year.
Right.
Balatro, I do think deserves Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
UFO 50, I am so happy that that's here because that is potentially one of my Game of the Years.
Mm-hmm.
UFO 50 is amazing and deserves an award. So I'm going to give it to UFO 50. That is, if you don't know, a collection of games in the style of NES games. It's 50 games that are on a fictional NES-like console, and you go through all 50 games, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You just pick the games. You just pick one of 50 games that were developed for this fictional NES console. And they're all awesome. They all feel like actual games that could have existed.
I'm going to give a special award for best video game name to Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
That's a cool name.
That's a fucking rad name.
That's a really cool name. All right. So I gave it a UFO 50.
All right.
Best debut indie game.
For the best debut game created by an independent studio, Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire.
This is hard.
Yeah.
I wanted to play The Plucky Squire. I didn't.
I've heard good things about The Plucky Squire.
I
mean, Animal Well made a big impact when it came out. It was really well made. Everyone enjoyed like all the levels of complexity to it. However, like you said, people associate it with Donkey, not the guy who actually made it. Balatro, again, everything we've been saying about Balatro, about this whole thing.
I kind of want to give it to The Plucky Squire because that's such a different type of game. And the art director for that game was the guy. That's what makes it interesting to me is the art director for the game was an ex-Pokemon company art director. He worked on Sword and Shield, I think. And he's great, and I like his work. And this looks awesome, and I hope that company goes on to do more things. So I'm gonna vote for that. Best mobile game. For the best game
playable on a mobile device, AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero.
Okay, I played Zenless Zone Zero.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good mobile game. You kind of need a controller.
Okay.
You don't need it, but like it is a lot more helpful.
Yeah.
Also, just not that great of a game. It's like good. I think that there's a lot that they could do to it to make it a lot better. I have wanted to play the Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. I think that might be the best mobile game. I have not played it. And I've been playing Balatro on my phone, so I gotta give it to Balatro.
Yeah.
Although I think that Pokemon Card Game Pocket might be up there as well.
Yeah.
Gotta give it to Balatro. Balatro kills the battery, not me, baby. Got an iPhone 15, baby. Also, I'd never leave the house, so my battery is always good.
Yeah.
Best VR/AR.
For the best game experience playable in a virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform, Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening.
Remake? Arizona Sunshine Remake?
That's what it's called.
I mean, everyone's talking about Batman Arkham.
I've heard Batman Arkham Shadow actually does an admirable job of translating the Arkham gameplay to VR.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have voted, but I voted for it. Best action game.
Hold on. I'm not caught up.
For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Stellar Blade. No, I don't know.
Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
People loved Warhammer.
Yeah. Nerds.
That's a very nerd.
And Henry Cavill.
I don't know what this category means best action game. Best game with a lot of action in it. I mean, that's most games.
Here's the thing. Like, this specifically says for the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat.
Okay.
The next category is best action adventure.
Ugh. I hate every year we have
for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So best action game, those are games where like the main thing you do is a form of combat. Like there's not much else you do moment to moment gameplay.
Black Myth Wukong has that.
Yeah. Call of Duty obviously has that.
Stellar Blade. Well, Call of Duty, it's broken up with friggin' if we're talking about the single player, it's broken up with cutscenes and shit.
Yeah, but like it's still the actual gameplay of it is like pure action. You're not like puzzle solving. You're not like doing map traversal. Things like that.
I think the action is a little more complex in every other game in this category.
Yeah.
Helldivers is all action.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade, I'd imagine, is a lot of action. I don't actually know too much about Stellar Blade. And Warhammer, I think, okay, fine. I mean, I only played Helldivers. I mean, I played Call of Duty, but not the single player. So I feel like I don't have a lot to say about that. And I do think Black Myth Wukong might be up. I'm going to skip this. Okay. I can't give my 2 cents.
So best action adventure, again, for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
I played 4 out of 5 of these.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
I'm guessing the one you didn't play is the one that's not an action game. Wait. Silent Hill 2 is like objectively not an action game. It was purposely made to not be action oriented.
So I saw people play that game and they do beat up the bad guys a lot.
So my memory of playing the original Silent Hill 2 back in the day is like, yes, obviously you get weapons, you get combat mechanics, but like it's purposely made to not be reliable. Mm-hmm. And the whole focus is like running away and like preserving your sanity. And in the modern version, like they of course added the Resident Evil 4 style camera because that's just what every game has now. But like the idea is the same. It's not about the combat, it's about everything else.
Right.
So I don't know if Silent Hill 2 is necessarily the best action adventure.
So the line puzzle solving, I think, is pretty important.
True.
Star Wars Outlaws, it's just incredibly generic.
Right.
I don't think that deserves an award here.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, I don't know much about it. Prince of Persia, I think, should have been in the last category.
Really?
Because it was a great action game. It had good combat.
Right.
Also, it has like puzzle solving and shit, but like nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
Astrobot is very good and should get some kudos for this, but Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, I think, is everything that this category is asking for.
Right.
It is combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. The combat is puzzle solving in this game because the way you fight things is you summon other things and you have to summon the right things, or you could just turn into Link and just fight. But it's every time you get into a situation, there's like a little mini dance that you have to do, and you can go through every conflict in a million different ways, and it feels really rewarding. So Zelda gets that for sure.
Next up, best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences. Dragon's Dogma 2, Shadow of the Erdtree, FF7 Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio.
This always brings up the argument of what an RPG is.
Yes.
It's at the point now where you just kind of know it when you see it.
Yeah. Like porn.
Exactly like porn. I think all of these are RPGs. I think people were saying that Elden Ring is not an RPG. It's an RPG.
It's an RPG.
Just because it doesn't have turn-based combat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't play any of these. I'm not an RPG guy. I'm skipping it.
All right. Fair enough.
Best fighting game.
Okay. For the best game designed primarily around hand-to-hand combat. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses, and Tekken 8.
Interesting. That they said it's primarily around head-to-head. Head-to-head, not
Head-to-head.
hand. I thought it was. You said hand-to-hand.
I did say hand-to-hand.
I was like, what? Because last year Sifu was on it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody was freaking out about that.
Yes. Well, these are all traditional one-on-one fighting
These all
games.
deserve to be here.
Yes.
Oh,
does the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection deserve to be on here?
I'll give it a pass because it adds online functionality that wasn't in any of the other versions.
No, because it was in. They've done Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with the Xbox 360 version had online. My argument is those are all older games, just in a modern compilation. You know,
yeah, but
they don't, when they re-release a movie in theaters, they don't nominate it for an Oscar again.
Yeah, this is the same argument we just had with the Elden Ring situation.
Yeah, I feel like this is more blatantly obvious, you know, breach of that. You know, I don't think like Marvel, because if that's the case, then yes, obviously Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection wins because it has Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on here.
Yeah,
none of these other games compete with Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
That is correct.
Also, it has a side-scrolling beat-em-up in the form of the Punisher, so that's not like, you know.
There's also a game missing. It's Rivals 2. That came out this year as well, and I thought that was still in beta, but no, it did have a full release. So that's weird, because there's not many fighting games that come out every year, so
yeah,
that should be here somewhere. If Marvel vs. Capcom is not allowed to win, I guess Tekken 8.
Yeah. Oh, wait, do people like Tekken 8? I don't know. Fighting game fans,
yes,
like,
no,
because like the game will get good reviews and like it'll come out and then like within a week it's like, oh, it's got no community support. Blah blah blah.
Fighting game people are way too into the nuances of the game.
Yeah.
So they only like the one that they started with.
Yeah.
That's the best game that they've ever played.
Yeah.
Even though at the time that they played it, they were probably shitting all over it, and then the next one came out and they're like, no, it's not like the last one.
Yeah.
Better. That's how people feel about Tekken 8. They wish it was like the older Tekken.
Yeah.
I'm voting Tekken 8.
Okay.
Best family game. Best family period. Best family. Which one's got the best family?
For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform: Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire.
So, I guess this category doesn't mean playing with other people. Just means like playing with kids in the room.
The best game appropriate for the whole family.
Okay.
So not necessarily a multiplayer game, but like a game that like, you know, your kids can play with you. Or like,
I mean Mario Party then. As much as I hate Mario Party, like that's the one.
You hate Mario Party.
I fucking hate Mario Party. I think that's the one though. I mean, Zelda is an amazing game. It's my favorite that's here. But you can't play that with another person. All right, next is best sim/strategy.
This is the best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kintsugi, The Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord.
I don't know a single thing about any of these games.
I've seen artwork for Frostpunk 2. That's as far as I got.
I heard that name one time. So. Sports/racing game.
For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games: F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, and WWE 2K24.
I did not know there was a tennis game.
Yeah. This one was a little controversial because the EA Sports college football game that came out this year, which was very popular, not nominated. Also, we talked about this. I mean, it was brought up last year, how the Game Awards just lumps racing games into this genre. And like, even though racing games technically should get their own category, and like racing games almost never win this category.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Also, I'm a big wrestling fan. I support wrestling in all of its endeavors. Is it a fighting game or a sports game? Like let's have this
It's
debate.
kind of a fighting game.
Yeah.
I think
it's a different kind of fighting game because you're focused more on stamina over life bars.
It's not a sports game because it's not a sport.
It's sports entertainment.
Yes.
So
It's like how email is not mail. It's the
it's
email.
electronic mail.
Yes. I'm skipping this. I don't know anything about any of this.
Best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, Warhammer, Space Marine 2.
So
Helldivers 2. That's the one. That was the one that was on everybody's mind. It was the most popular one earlier this year.
I watched people play Mario Party online, and the lag is crazy.
Yeah.
Nintendo still hasn't figured out how to do netcode. So this definitely goes to Helldivers 2. Call of Duty is fine. I played the online, and it's the same as it's always been. There's some new movement stuff, but it feels pretty much exactly the same. And I've had fun with it, but Helldivers 2 is on another level. We're not even close.
We got a lot to go.
Best adaptation.
Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft.
Everybody loves Arcane.
Everyone loves Arcane. Everybody loves Fallout.
I've only seen one episode of Fallout, and that's the only thing I've seen of all of this.
I've heard Knuckles is not even in his own show most of the time. So
that would be expensive.
Yes. And Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, they gave her the DEI chin, so that's out.
Oh, I'm skipping.
So that's out.
I'm skipping. I'm not doing it. Most anticipated game, we got Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm excited for Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei and Metroid Prime 4. Not excited at all about Monster Hunter Wilds. But the answer's
obviously going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. Obviously. There's no... it's not fair.
Literally, the economy is waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. Content Creator of the Year. Do I know a single person?
No.
Queso. I know Queso.
Okay.
And not personally. He's pretty funny.
Okay.
I'm going with Queso.
I just assume you know all the content creators.
No.
Best esports game. Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, and Valorant.
Never heard of that game. Valorant? It's Valorant.
Okay.
Best esports athlete. Do I know any of these?
33, Alexibi, Chovy, Faker, and Ziwu.
And one more. ZMJJKK.
Oh. What?
I only know Faker, and he's like an old school guy. I'm not voting for any of these guys.
Best esports team. Billy Gaming, Gen G, Navi, T1, and Team Liquid. Liquid.
I am once again not voting.
Okay. And that's it. We did it.
Oh, I skipped 9. That's why I was looking at the votes casts in the corner. 3 rounds, 3 chances to vote. What does that mean?
I guess they're doing multiple voting sessions.
Oh.
Get to vote more than once?
Round 1 opens on December 2nd. 30 nominees for vote for 10. What? Oh, player's choice. It's for players.
Okay.
They're going to do a whole thing for players.
Got it.
Okay. So, this was a fine game of the year. I mean, every year there's like a lot of hubbub about what should be allowed to be a game of the year and what shouldn't. This was fine. I mean, the only real big controversy was whether or not a DLC should be allowed to be game of the year.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see what happens with who wins.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited that they put an indie game in game of the year.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool, but I would like to see more games that aren't just third-person action.
Yeah.
I'm sick of that from AAA studios. It's all that means just PlayStation's always going to win.
Yeah.
And I saw a list of like what a list of the publishers that are in game of the year, and it's heavily favored by PlayStation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this was fun. This is a fine game of the year or game awards list.
Really, like most people don't even watch it for the awards themselves. Yeah. People watch it to see the trailers for all the upcoming games that will eventually win most anticipated game.
Last year had some bad trailers.
Yeah.
It was not that fun. I will probably stream along with the Game Award happens.
When are the Game Awards this year?
I think it's like 12th or 13th or
something. Yeah, December 12th. It's the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards, when Jeff Keighley broke free from the shackles of Spike TV and made his own. It is the 20th anniversary of the Spike TV Awards. And as mentioned in the chat, the first game to win Game of the Year at that award show was Madden 04.
Good God.
And they gave away that award at the beginning of the show.
They did not know how to do.
Nope.
Was that with what's his name? Joel McHale?
No, that was the last one they did. Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yes.
So there you go. Go vote yourself if you're upset about any of the things that we said during this. If we maybe made fun of the game that you like, go vote.
Yeah.
Where are we? Wicked Spooky, thank you for the 28 months. Yo, guys, I hope you're both doing amazeballs. Thank you. I am. Denny Tron, thanks for the prime. And I believe. Okay. It's the time. Can I hit the right button?
Backlog! 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 Backlog!
Hey guys, backlog time. How you doing? Good to see you. Galeron in. Will, what's the backlog?
The Backlog is a segment of the Wulff Den podcast where we go through our entire video game collection, a collection of over 973 games that we've been collecting since the dawn of time because we're old. We put them in a little Excel spreadsheet right here, and today we're going to pick up one at random and talk about it regardless of whether or not we've played it.
And that one is 772.
772. All right. It's not an Uncharted game.
Oh, good.
But it's also a game we haven't played. It's Jade Empire for the original Xbox.
Oh, I don't know this one at all.
So I am familiar with the game itself. This is it. It's an original Xbox game. It was also released on PC. It is a BioWare game. It was their follow-up to Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, I did not know about this.
Yes. So rather than do Knights of the Old Republic 2, they made Jade Empire. Let me just pull up the Wikipedia so I have something to talk about. It is an action role-playing game developed by BioWare, originally published by Microsoft in 2005 as an Xbox exclusive. Later ported to PC in 2007 by 2K. Later ports to macOS and mobile were handled by Transgaming and Aspire. Set in the world inspired by Chinese mythology, players control the last surviving spirit monk on a quest to save their tutor, Master Li, and defeat the dark forces behind his kidnapping. The spirit monk is guided through a linear narrative, completing quests and engaging in action-based combat. With morality-based dialogue choices during conversations, the player can impact both the story and gameplay progression in various ways.
God, everything that I click on is dialogue.
Yeah.
It does seem very similar to Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that by this point, BioWare kind of found their groove. Like, they know what type of game they're making. They're making Knights of the Old Republic. They're making Jade Empire. They're eventually going to make Mass Effect. And it's all, like, the same, like, style of gameplay. This was their first, like, action RPG. Like, pure action RPG. Because KOTOR was, like, that weird hybrid style. This one was actually, like, hand-to-hand combat.
Mm-hmm.
And that later paved the way for Mass Effect with its, like, third-person shooter mechanics and things like that.
So it's been a while since we've gotten a game on this show that we haven't played.
Yes.
Why do we have this? We haven't played it.
One of us.
Okay, so when I worked at GameStop,
yeah,
I worked there around the time they were getting rid of original Xbox games. So it was either, my guess would be it was either extremely cheap or I just got a handful of original Xbox games for free.
I should note that it's a physical version that we have. So we have the disc. So I'm assuming that had to have been the case where you got it from GameStop for some reason.
I vaguely remember there being a little bin, like a cardboard box that had unboxed original Xbox games that we were selling for like $1 or $2, and then eventually we just got rid of the whole box. And that means nobody wanted this game.
Yeah. Which is amazing to me because it reviewed very well when it came out. IGN gave it a 9.9.
Wow.
Wow. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
First of all, they're too cowardly to just give it a 10. And second of all, that's a higher review than like games people actually love and remember, like God of War 1, Metroid Prime, Resident Evil 4. Like, this game is, if you're going by just the numbers, better than those, but nobody seems to remember or care about Jade Empire.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a game that everybody would be talking about.
Yeah. It never got a sequel. BioWare did not want to make a sequel to it, which I find odd because they have sequels to all of their games. I believe it is playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series through backwards compatibility, so if you have it, you can still play it.
It has an 89 on Metacritic.
Yeah. Which is still really good.
That is still really good.
Yeah.
That is good. You would think that you would hear more people talk about it.
Yeah. No, it's just it's weird because it's like now it's like a lost or forgotten original Xbox game.
Yeah. Very strange.
Yeah.
I want to say that I want to play it now.
Yeah.
Because hearing it get such big review scores and the fact that it's forgotten, I want to give it a chance,
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like my type of game. That type of BioWare type situation is not up my alley.
Yeah, like...
Also, there was a lot of cutscenes and dialogue, and I'm not about that. I want to get right into the action.
I feel like the problem is BioWare games are so big.
Yeah.
And they're so long.
Yeah.
Hello. I just feel like you got to like really commit time and effort into playing these games. And who has the time and effort to play a game like this nowadays?
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up the How Long to Beat. For some reason, How Long to Beat does not work in Chrome for me. It only works in Safari.
That's extremely...
I have a lot of websites that don't work in Chrome. But I got to go to Safari.
Restart your Chrome or something.
I guess. How Long to Beat Jade Empire. 17 and a half hours.
That's not bad. That's
actually pretty manageable.
Yeah, it's manageable.
Especially for like an RPG, a BioWare RPG.
Yeah, BioWare RPGs can be 100 hours.
So.
I'm still not going to do it.
Yeah, no.
Can't do it. All right. Well, give it a try. I mean, it seems like it was given some great reviews.
Yeah, it seems like it's got an interesting setting, Chinese mythology setting.
If you're into BioWare stuff,
yeah,
give it a chance because more people got to talk about it if it got good reviews like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching the Backlog, everybody. Tune in to a podcast one of the days, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. Next news.
Next is the big Phil Spencer Bloomberg interview.
Okay.
Now, I didn't put the Bloomberg article in there because Bloomberg's one of those websites where you got to like log in and pay, and it's a pain in the ass. But IGN wrote 3 articles focusing on the 3 main points from that interview. So I figure we'll just go through the bullet points. Okay. First up, Microsoft confirms plans to release an Xbox handheld, but it's years away.
Love that.
According to Phil Spencer, Microsoft is currently working on prototypes and considering what it might do with its team developing its vision for a handheld based on what it learned from looking at the market. In the short term, Microsoft will focus on improving the Xbox app so it works better on existing handheld gaming devices. Spencer adding, long term, I love us building devices, and I think our team could do some real innovative work, but we want to be informed by learning and what's happening now. Spencer made no secret of his desire to enter the handheld console market with Xbox hardware, and practically confirmed the plan to IGN back in June following the Xbox game showcase.
So it's pretty funny that they want to focus on making the app really good.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. I think that the app could be a good vessel to have a nice front end on Windows. The best thing that they can do is just have Windows function as a gaming handheld device. Like they tried to do it with Windows Metro, which we've talked about before on the show, for tablets. Why not have an interface for handhelds to use with a controller? I think that they're so close with a lot of the stuff that they've done, but for whatever reason, they can't just pull the trigger on merging them all.
Yeah.
I am working on a video now that will hopefully be out on Sunday that is about front ends for Windows handhelds. And one of the front ends that I found that I liked a lot is called Play Night. And there is a theme that you can get for it that just turns it into an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And having the Xbox front end, like the Xbox home screen on a Windows handheld, feels exactly like it should. This is exactly how it should be.
Right.
The Xbox app, you should open it and go into full screen mode, and it is just an Xbox.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Okay.
Maybe like big picture mode on Steam.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is doing a fine job with your Windows.
Yeah.
Why can't you do a good job with it?
Yeah.
But that's not the big part of the article. The big part of the article is that they want to make a handheld.
Yeah. Which I think makes the most sense for them now, because their whole thing is play anywhere.
Yeah.
And at this point, handheld is probably the best option for them.
Yeah,
You know?
they should absolutely make their own hardware.
Because it doesn't sound like they're going to do mid-cycle refresh like the PS5 Pro. And like, honestly, a handheld system would probably be the best course of action for them instead.
I think everybody loves these PC handhelds right now. A lot of people are not pulling the trigger because they are a niche thing for kind of enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And they're expensive.
Yes.
So Microsoft throwing their hat in the ring, you got a huge name behind it. I think it will be hugely popular.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as much as a console, maybe not as much as Switch, but it could be very successful for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they would need to launch it with a front end, because all these other or handheld manufacturers are making their own front ends because Windows sucks that bad.
Well, I would imagine it would be a locked platform like the Xbox. Like, it would not run on Windows. It would run on Xbox OS.
I don't think so.
You think it would be an
it
actual
be Windows.
PC?
Yeah, because it could use PC Game Pass.
Yeah, but by the same time, like, you know, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, then you have Game Pass on both PC and Xbox. But also, too, like, Windows is buggy, Windows crashes, Windows has like a lot of like issues that the Xbox OS doesn't.
Right.
So I would imagine them wanting to do a more lockdown, stable device like the Switch or the Steam Deck, as opposed to like something more open and universal.
I mean, if they can get Series S power into a handheld, sure. But otherwise, you're gonna have to severely nerf the games that are running on Xbox. You know?
True.
If it's a PC, it's considered like a low-powered PC, and then these games usually are just fine.
Mm-hmm.
If they do make it a PC, they would need to really refine that front end.
Yeah.
And I think that they're probably putting a lot of work into doing that.
Yeah.
Making it a proprietary OS, I don't know, because they already have one. They already have Windows. Xbox OS turning that into a handheld thing, I don't know. I think it would be a lot easier for them to just Windows. What's the next news?
Microsoft game boss Phil Spencer won't rule out any Xbox exclusive making the jump to PlayStation, including Halo. Speaking to Bloomberg, Spencer has said that every Xbox game is up for grabs when it comes to making the multi-platform jump. I do not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say thou must not, he said. Halo on PlayStation would be perhaps the biggest Xbox game to go multi-platform so far, given its association with the console over the years. It's too early to make any sort of decision for the next version of Halo, Bloomberg quoted Spencer as saying. So yeah, the big thing is that all games are open for going on PlayStation, including the crown jewel, Halo.
Yeah, Microsoft or Xbox is sort of changing their philosophy over the past couple of years. It's been pretty obvious that the console wars are changing like a lot. Although there's still people who are like ride or die certain platforms.
Yeah.
But it's not as cut and dry as it used to be. It's not like, what system do you have? It's more amalgamous than that. People like sometimes have more than one, or there's just a lot of different ways to play some of these games. A lot of stuff's moving over to PC.
Yeah.
So why not just throw some games on PlayStation, especially because Microsoft has so many. They're a publisher that has so many developers right now, and no one's buying Xboxes.
Yeah.
so they got to sell these games.
Yeah.
They have so many developers making games and no platform for them to be on.
Yeah.
So why not expand to other platforms?
I mean, obviously we've seen it already. They're putting a lot of their games on Sony and like other platforms. It's very successful for them. Sea of Thieves is like the best-selling PlayStation game the month it came out. People are enjoying playing like Grounded on Switch and on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it's like it's working for them. But I'm having a really hard time imagining Master Chief on a Sony platform. I feel like there's got to be, like he says, there's no red line, like they're all up for grabs. There's got to be at least one that like incentivizes you to stay within the Xbox ecosystem specifically. And if it's not Halo, then I don't know what is.
Well, that would be them giving up on the console space.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. If one day they just were like, forget it.
Yeah, but
or if it's just not a priority to them at all.
But by that token, then why make Xboxes at all?
That's what I'm saying. I think that there's a possibility where they just don't.
Right.
Or they just do it as a novelty and don't expect to
the way like Microsoft makes PCs.
Yeah.
Like that's not their business.
Yeah, it's like it's their flagship.
Yeah.
They'll have a flagship PC, but for the most part, people aren't using Microsoft products on Microsoft hardware. They're doing it elsewhere. And I don't think that's a terrible business model for them.
All right. Last bit of news. Despite buying Activision Blizzard for $69 billion last year, Microsoft definitely won't be in the market for more. Microsoft definitely want to be in the market for more video game acquisitions. Phil Spencer said he's up for buying more companies, although cautioned that nothing's imminent and that big deals are off the table for now. So if Microsoft does open its wallet again, what might it be spending its billions on? Deals that add geographic diversity, including in Asia, might be worthwhile, Spencer said. Apparently, Microsoft's eyeing up buying another mobile company. Microsoft did pick up Candy Crush maker King as part of the Activision Blizzard acquisition. We definitely want to be in the market, and when we can find teams and technology and capability that add to what we're trying to do in gaming at Microsoft, absolutely we want to keep our heads up, Spencer said. So despite the fact that they spent like a fortune on Activision Blizzard and it is affecting the company negatively because they spent so much money and they're not like recouping that money fast enough. Yeah, sure, we'll just keep buying game companies.
Yeah.
Like to be fair, he did say that like, you know, not make big acquisitions like that anymore, like smaller acquisitions.
The FCC allow them to buy up everything.
I mean, given the new administration that's coming in,
yeah, they're going to be allowed to do whatever they want. There is going to be a new FCC chair.
Yeah.
And it looks like bad news for the tech space because apparently he's like super pro internet service providers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not what we need right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, we're not big into companies, big game company monopolies. Like
especially
Microsoft
like
is becoming a big game company.
Especially like, you know, they bought all these companies and they have little to show for it, really. Like, yeah, some of them have been putting out games, so like they're not setting the world on fire. They're not selling like what they need to sell. You know, some of the studios closed down because the games they're putting out have not been up to stuff.
Yeah, Microsoft getting King, the mobile studio, is a huge deal, and we haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
before. They haven't really been doing much of anything. So them buying another mobile game studio, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
I think it's important for some of these big game companies to focus on mobile because there's a lot of good opportunities in mobile, and they are not utilizing it well at all.
Yeah,
like look at Balatro, that's my game of the year, and it's on my phone. But people are just taking these mobile games and just shoveling them full of not fun microtransaction stuff. Balatro is $10 and it's just a game. You know, there's nothing else in the game.
Yeah,
it's just $10 and it's the game. I guess we can talk about Sony
Yes.
Buying a game studio. This also has people very upset.
Yes.
I moved it up.
Yeah, Sony is in talks to buy media powerhouse behind Elden Ring. Sony is in talks to acquire Kadawaka, the Japanese media powerhouse behind the Elden Ring game, two sources familiar with the matter said, as the technology giant looks to add to its entertainment portfolio.
Is Kadokawa,
Kadokawa, sorry.
Is that part, do they own From Software?
They own From Software.
Okay.
Sony already has a 2% stake in Kadokawa, and the stake in Kadokawa controlled From Software, the developer of the hit fantasy action role-playing game Elden Ring. The critically acclaimed title is a collaboration between veteran game designer Hideki Miyazaki and Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin. I'm trying to find, because like Kadokawa doesn't just do From Software. They have like they're a big media company. They focus on games, anime, events, figures, franchises such as ReZero, in which a teenage boy is summoned to a fantasy world. You can tell like Reuters is like an adult magazine, because like they have to explain it like that.
Yeah.
And they don't just list all the nerd shit that they do.
Yeah. I mean, people love From Software.
Yes.
I
I didn't know they were owned by.
I didn't know that either. People love From Software. One of the great things about the From Software games is that people play them on PC.
Yeah.
And having Sony own too much of this could be, it could change what people love about From Software.
Yeah. So in terms of like video games, like they only own From Software is like the big one. They own like a majority stake in that. They also own Acquire, Spike, Chunsoft, Gotcha Games. Like you've only heard of one of those.
Yeah. I mean, Elden Ring and the Souls-like games, like From Software feels like a Sony developer.
Yeah,
because they're third-person action.
Well, they've also like worked closely with Sony for like Bloodborne and Demon Souls, and
So it feels fine. It feels like it would be at home on PlayStation. Yeah. But I mean, having those special deals, I think, is the way to go. Not owning the whole company, because I think that it's nice for companies to expand a little bit. Not everything needs to be a Sony exclusive.
Well, I don't know, because Sony's also been trying to like be like the name in anime, like with owning Crunchyroll and things like that. And my understanding is that Kadokawa does own a lot of like, they own Anime News Network and things like that. So like it's not just that they want From Software, they want like to be an anime powerhouse, and this is like the next step towards that.
Yeah, I don't love this news.
Yeah.
I'm not liking Sony. I'm like a Sony hater, I think.
So other franchises that they own, Armored Core, Danganronpa, Fire Pro Wrestling, Kingsfield, Lost Kingdoms, Panzerfront, RPG Maker,
interesting,
Tenchu, Way of the Samurai, Zero Escape, Twilight Syndrome. Yeah. They're like a big deal. Sony wants it.
Yeah. I mean, this has to go through the Japanese FCC system, whatever that is. So I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of From Software games, this is directly impacting you, especially if you don't play them on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I just added this story. I didn't realize we didn't have it. But here's another Sony story. PlayStation Portal is getting an update.
Ooh.
Did you see this?
I did not see this.
Sony's new PlayStation Portal update lets you stream PS5 games from the cloud.
Wow.
It's exactly what should have been there from day one.
Yeah.
Sony's bringing a new big feature to PlayStation Portal, cloud streaming. When it first launched, the device was only able to stream games from your PlayStation 5 over Wi-Fi. But as part of a new system update that's rolling out starting later today, you'll be able to stream select PS5 games from the PlayStation Plus game catalog to your PlayStation Portal. Sony is launching the feature in beta, and you'll need to be a PlayStation Plus premium subscriber to take advantage of it. Sony says that I'm having a stroke. Sony says that to stream at 720p, you'll need a minimum of 7 megabits per second connection, while 1080p quality will require a minimum 13 megabits per second connection. Which honestly isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all. Some PlayStation Plus features won't be available to start with cloud streaming to the PlayStation Portal, including game trials, party voice chat, game invites for select games, 3D audio, and in-game commerce, meaning,
Right.
microtransactions. And you won't be able to stream any PS4 games or PS3 games. Child accounts also won't be able to use cloud streaming on the portal. The beta will be available in the following countries. Not reading all of that. Sony launched cloud streaming on PlayStation 5 consoles last year as part of the new PlayStation Portal update. There are changes to audio too, including a lower minimum volume level and the ability to tweak settings of a PlayStation Link device from your Portal's setting.
Interesting.
So this drastically increases the usefulness of the PlayStation Portal.
Yes.
And a lot of people, every time I said that it needs this, it drastically needs this feature, people are always like, yeah, but then you don't need to buy a PlayStation. So?
Yeah.
So what? They're locking you into a subscription that's worth more than one PlayStation purchase. So I think this is great. And the reason I think this is so important on the PlayStation Portal is connecting, having the connection to your own home, your own device that is sitting on your own network is a worse connection than it would be if it was coming from their servers.
Yeah.
Which sounds counterintuitive because it's further away from you, but that's what it's built for. It's built to send the video straight into your home. Whereas your home internet connection is not built to stream like that.
Yeah.
So in my experience on multiple different networks, cloud streaming works better than remote streaming on multiple different devices on multiple different networks. That's always been my experience. So even on PlayStation's own cloud streaming is better than their remote play.
Right.
It's like drastically better. So having that unlocked on a PlayStation Portal is great, and I might jump back in to give it another chance. Of course, they locked it behind premium. I mean, you're going to need to pay a subscription to stream from their server.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm not going to, be too mad about that. Because, I mean, Xbox does the same thing. You can't just have a free game. That would be a free game. Have you tried the Portal with the PS5 Pro? No, I have not.
I've been hearing like the Portal is like a completely different machine than it was like when it launched. Like people actually like using it and it works.
I heard that too, and the last time I heard that was around when Astrobot came out, and I played it with Astrobot, and it still fucking sucked. It was still terrible. I don't think that the PS5 Pro is gonna fix that much.
Probably not.
It could, but so the Pro uses Wi-Fi 7, which is more than what the original uses Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah.
But the Portal only uses Wi-Fi 5. So. But I guess they're both going to your router.
Yeah.
So the connection to your PlayStation 5 Pro would be better. The Portal's still going to be a shitty connection, though. So I don't know. Well, I mean, I'll give it a try. I might revisit the Portal in a video, like do a full-on revisit. But I don't know. PlayStation fans already hate me because I didn't like the Pro. All right, we got to rapid fire through the rest of this shit.
Okay. What are we up to?
GOG announces... oh, God, this website.
Yeah.
GOG announces a new thing.
GOG Preservation Program ensures classic games remain playable on modern systems even after the developer stops supporting them. By maintaining these iconic titles, GOG helps you protect and relive the memories that shaped you, DRM-free, with dedicated tech support. So, GOG, good old games. They're kind of known for like having classic games available, DRM free. They've sort of like moved on to like having more modern games available, also DRM free, but they're recommitting to their original mission statement, which is having older games that haven't been available for a long time, available now, playable on modern PC, completely DRM free.
SWAT 4, baby.
Oh boy.
Let's go. This is awesome. I want to like GOG. I want to buy all my games on GOG, but Steam is just so easy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so convenient because it's a front end, and you have access to it from everywhere, and it's all like in one. It's like iTunes. It's all your stuff is in one location.
So there is GOG Galaxy, which is their version of like
but
it's not as good.
Yeah, nobody likes GOG Galaxy.
Well, people do like it because I did mess around with it recently because people said that they liked it, and you can like integrate your Steam library, but it sucks. It's not as intuitive. It's a lot easier to get games on GOG and then put those in your Steam library.
Yes.
So hopefully that gets better. But I like this. I like this idea. I gotta check out GOG a little more frequently if a game's not on Steam. Maybe I'll check GOG and see if some of the old retro stuff.
They do have a lot of stuff on GOG that's not on Steam, and a lot of the stuff that's on both GOG like updates it to run better on modern hardware.
That is great.
Yeah,
that is really good.
Like not remaster it so much as just like makes it like more playable.
Yeah, a lot of old PC games have issues.
Yeah,
running on modern hardware these. Oh yeah, baby. Next news: workers at Bethesda parent company strike over remote work policy.
Members of the ZeniMax Workers United CWA, one of the largest video game unions in the United States, have gone on strike. The action involves workers in ZeniMax offices in Texas and Maryland who do quality assurance work for games such as Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Workers are striking over claims that ZeniMax leadership has failed to address employee issues regarding remote work and outsourcing. Today, we are on strike. ZeniMax Workers United posted on Twitter. We are not afraid to do what is necessary to make sure that Microsoft meets us at the bargaining table over key issues like remote work options and outsourcing. Yeah, good for them. Go on strike. Everybody should go on strike, even if you're not in a union.
Even if everything's going well at your company, you should go on strike.
Just go on strike.
No, it's ridiculous. A lot of companies are perfectly capable of doing remote work. And,
and they're just, the higher ups are just like, no, you're not.
I don't really quite understand. There's a multitude of reasons why I don't understand the whole fight against remote work. One of them is that I'm privileged to work at home.
Yeah.
So I don't have I just know that I work great like that.
Yeah.
I know that there's other people that do not. But you should know if you do work good at home.
Yeah.
Or if you need to be I think the hybrid setup is the best.
The hybrid setup is the best.
And if you are a worker that can't realize where you work best, then that's a whole different conversation that the company needs to have with you.
As somebody who has a 9-to-5 that is hybrid, I go to the office some days a week. I work from home some days a week.
Right.
The flexibility is the most important factor. You want to be able, like, I understand going into the office has its benefits. You can easily meet with people face to face, work eye to eye. But given the way modern technology is, you can do that on Microsoft Teams. You could do that in Slack. There's less of a barrier than there was even 10 years ago. The thing is, as an employee, you want to have control over how you work, not your employer. By going back into the office, you remove any sort of flexibility that you may have had previously. Working from home, it's easier to get dinner started at a reasonable time. It's easier to take your car to the mechanic if you need to get something fixed.
That's the biggest thing that I think about. I had a job when before the whole remote work, before the pandemic, basically. And I did renegotiate my job so that I can be home one day a week so that I can work on Wulff Den stuff. But that was my big thing, was that the work-life balance was just abysmal.
Yeah.
And if I needed to go to the doctor or bring my car into the mechanic, something small like that, it felt impossible.
Yeah.
And my job could have easily been from home. There's no reason I needed to lug my ass all the way to the city, 3-hour commute.
Especially now that I have kids, taking care of them, I don't know how I would have done it without remote work or hybrid work.
Yeah.
Because like I can take them to school, I can take them to the doctor, I can take them to their dumb sports things that I don't want to go to, but I have to because I'm their dad.
Yeah, like, and if you're doing your work, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares? Like
I'm doing the same amount of work in the office and at home.
Yeah, I'd imagine that there are people who are not capable of doing that.
Right.
But again, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Like if you're forcing everybody to come back into the office, you're just gonna have shittier workers.
Yeah.
Because you're making people more upset, more stressed for no reason.
Also, what they don't want to admit is that the 9 to 5, nobody does work that entire time. Right. Most jobs can get done in like 3 hours, like during the day.
So
they just want you to stay there so that they can have control over your time.
Some statistics that I read a long time ago was like most people, if you're actually working, if you're actually doing work at your job, most people at a 40-hour work week do work 20 hours.
Yeah.
If you're like really grinding. The actual work that you're doing is 20 hours. The rest of it's like, like walking around, like getting water or lunch or just setting up to do more work.
Yeah.
And at a big company, 20% of the people do 90% of the work or something ridiculous like that. Like most people at a company do nothing.
Yeah.
So what these companies, I think what they're doing is they're trying to justify all of the real estate that they have.
Most of it, yeah.
They just don't want to get rid of the big buildings that they have.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
They're like, this is empty, and we need to justify owning all of this.
Yes,
so.
It's important that you come back for the culture. Come back to our gray buildings with no windows. We'll have a pizza party.
Literally, sell it.
Yeah.
You don't need it. It's not important to have.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, if your company is making you come back to work,
yeah,
and you don't have to like have a union. Just tell all of your other employees, hey, I think we should all just not work this week.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Yeah. We'll fire you, but
not if they can't fire all of you. That's the whole point. That's what a union is.
Right. But
everybody get together.
Yeah.
Don't let your pets pee on your Switch.
Yeah, even though the Switch is nearing the end of its lifespan, Nintendo is still offering some valuable nuggets of advice.
I hate this thumbnail. What the hell?
In a social media post, the company's customer service branch has warned users to be mindful of where they leave their Switch consoles and accessories when in the presence of any pets. It states that pet saliva and urine can cause the systems to malfunction due to their water exposure.
What the fuck?
This is translated from Google Translate. When you take your eyes off of it, your pet turns your Nintendo Switch into a toy. By the time you notice, it's already covered in drool. Pet saliva and urine can cause the device to malfunction due to water exposure. If you have pets, be careful about where you place your Switch.
Tim, come here. Tim.
He might be peeing on your Switch. Here. Now, it doesn't say anything about peeing on your PS5 Pro, so...
Come here.
Come here, Zim.
Here you go. This is Joy-Con.
Yeah. Put your camera.
Zim, this is a Joy-Con. No? You don't want to eat it or piss on it?
He's like, leave me alone.
I think that we don't have that problem.
Okay.
I think it's not a big deal.
All right.
All right, Zim, thanks for being here.
Bye, Zim. But if you have a dog or cat or what have you that likes to pee on everything, make sure your Switch is secure.
That's so dumb. And that's so weird that they had to have a they got to tell people don't let your dog chew on your Joy-Con.
Something happened.
It probably happens a lot. Like dogs chewing on Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Like kids leaving it.
Yeah.
And if you leave stuff on the floor, dog could chew on it.
Somebody who worked at Nintendo, their dog peed on their Switch.
Yeah.
And they realized how like bad that is. So they're like, we got to tell the whole world not to let your dog pee on your Switch.
The fact that they specifically say urine, weird. Because
well, that's the proper term.
No, I just pee at all. Like mentioning pee at all, because I could see dogs chewing on Joy-Cons. Pissing on it is weird. That's not a
That's
thing.
what I mean. Like, this is a very specific thing that happened to one person. And that person has to tell everybody now.
I mean, most dogs, I think, chew on stuff they're not supposed to.
Right.
Zim is amazing. He doesn't chew on fucking anything.
Right.
Even a toy. You give him a toy and he's like, I don't want that. Get that away from me. Every other dog, like Hunter, our old dog, Rue, my roommate's dog, anything that is on the floor, they're eating.
Right.
So I could see people sending Joy-Cons over to Nintendo for repair that are all chewed up.
Yeah.
But with piss on them, that's weird. Anyway. Sega confirms Sonic is homeless. What's going on this week?
There is a general consensus among Sonic fans that Sonic doesn't really have a home, drifting from place to place. This has also been confirmed in the past through spin-off media such as the Tales Tube web series, which basically told us that Sonic just sets up camp wherever and squats at his lab and gets tired. However, in a print edition of the Sonic the Hedgehog Annual 2025 comic, Sonic's fact file says that Sonic lives in Green Hill Zone, the first level of the original game. Fans took to Twitter who noticed this and were surprised at the new piece of lore, as they had been convinced that Sonic was homeless. But that's where Sonic series associate lore manager at Sega hopped in to clear up the misunderstanding. Mr. Kritz told fans on Twitter that the old draft ended up being misprinted in the 2025 annual, and that the part about Sonic living in Green Hill Zone was a mistake. Sonic doesn't have a home. He's a drifter. Again,
a gypsy.
Yeah.
Not a homeless.
Not a homeless, but not a vagabond. Not once in my 30 odd years of being a Sonic the Hedgehog fan did I ever think to myself, yeah, Sonic is homeless.
Where does he sleep?
Where does he sleep?
Yeah. I mean, it's true. You never see his home.
Yeah. Like, that's...
I would imagine it is in the Green Hills.
I've also never seen Mario's home. I don't assume Mario is homeless.
Mario RPG. His home's in it.
That's true.
I think it's a big sign that says Mario's house. And that's it. That's the only time you see it. But yeah, no, it makes sense that, I mean, he's always on adventures. He's got no time to sit in one spot.
Okay, like
all right. Oh, this is also very important. Microsoft's new ad campaign.
Yes. Microsoft has been trying to expand Xbox to multiple devices for more than 5 years now, and now it's launching a marketing campaign to make it very clear that it thinks every screen is an Xbox now. A new This Is an Xbox campaign is launching to position the Xbox brand as a way to play games across multiple devices instead of just on an Xbox. This Is an Xbox invites people to play with Xbox across multiple devices and screens, explains Craig McNary, Senior Director of Xbox Marketing. It showcases the evolution of Xbox as a platform that extends across devices with bold, iconic, fun visuals and a lighthearted tone. Yep.
And here it is.
There it is.
This is an Xbox, right, baby? I mean, I saw this and it was a meme instantly.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense for them. Because we were just talking about how they're more about having their games available on a bunch of stuff. And there is a lot of different, like, there's a lot of different devices you can play Xbox games on. And it's very, they made their platform very versatile. And I think it makes a lot of sense to show people, like, hey, look, your computer, you can play Xbox games on.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
The fact that they put the Xbox app on Fire Sticks and Samsung TVs is like,
makes a lot of sense. And this will only continue to expand the different stuff that could play Xbox. All right. What's next?
Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I thought that they did a documentary already. What was the last Valve documentary that everybody was going nuts about?
Was it for Half-Life 1? Because that was the 25th anniversary was last year of Half-Life 1.
Oh, then it was that.
Yeah.
This is Half-Life 2, so that makes a lot of sense.
So, well, first up, they updated Half-Life 2. First of all, they made it free for like a week. So if you missed your opportunity, sucks to be you. But in addition to that, they've also given it. What did they do to update it? They rolled in episodes 1 and 2 into the base game of Half-Life 2. So now you're guaranteed to have those in the full package. They're accessible from the main menu. Alongside this, Half-Life 2 now also comes with the option to listen to over 3 hours of in-game developer commentary. In the extras menu of Half-Life 2, you'll also be able to find the Lost Coast level, which is a free tech demo that was released as a separate free download for the game a year or so after it launched. Update is not just about bundling together all of Half-Life 2's content, but improving quality of the game as well. While there are plenty of fan projects looking to modernize Half-Life 2, Valve was eager to do it themselves. The patch notes include plenty of visual improvements, particularly to lighting. New graphics setting also lets you play with the original game's launch day blood and fire effects, or the improved ones that feature in episodes 1 and 2. New models with super high levels of detail can now be enabled in high quality mode. What's even more amazing is this bigger and better version of Half-Life 2 is totally free to redeem and keep on Steam right now until Monday, November 18th. Again, if you missed your chance, sucks to be you. So it's fun that they've keep Half-Life 2 alive, revitalize it. It genuinely is one of the greatest games of all time. It is one of the best games I have ever played.
It is frequently free or extremely cheap.
Yes, if you haven't played Half-Life 2, fucking get on it.
Yeah.
So that was fun, but the bigger news about this is they did release a 2-hour documentary on the making of Half-Life 2. Part of that documentary actually revealed gameplay footage and story details of Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
I did not know this.
Yes. Valve has opened up about its development in a brand new documentary that shows never before seen work in progress footage, a brand new ice gun, and a raft of new concept art. Among the details shown in the video, Episode 3 would have been set in the Arctic, and it would have focused on Alex as a companion character. Aside from the ice gun, the footage shows a blob-like enemy that could split into multiple parts. According to the documentary, the team had complete a collection of playable levels in no particular order and expected to be able to release the game within a year or two. In addition to new gameplay footage, writer Mark Laidlaw, founder Gabe Newell, and others also talked frankly about why it was never released, ultimately chalking it up to a lack of compelling new ideas and other reasons. At one point, Laidlaw jokes, "Are we allowed to cry in this documentary?" The reason for Episode 3's cancellation has been the subject of much discussion over the years, not the least because Episode 2 ended on a grim cliffhanger. In an interview with IGN shortly before Alex's release, Half-Life Alyx, Valve level designer Dario Caselli described it partially as an issue of scope creep. Laidlaw would later reveal that the plot for Episode 3, in a story called Episode 3, featuring the Girdle Fremont and Alex Vaughn, plays on Gordon Freeman and Alex Vance. It's possible to detect a lot of regret over the decision not to go through with Episode 3. At one point, Laidlaw jokes, "Are we allowed to cry in the documentary?" Others talk about how Episode 3 probably could have been released in hindsight. Gabe Newell says, "We could have shipped it. It wouldn't have been that hard. My personal failure was being stumped. I couldn't figure out why Episode 3 was pushing anything forward." So what this article doesn't get into, but Gabe Newell actually said we could have released the game and the fans would have liked the story mode. So we could have completed the story, but that's not good enough.
There is a lot of new cool stuff in this. I was not expecting them to be this candid. And this is probably a long time ago. So the fact that none of this leaked is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
The ice gun looked awesome. You can make cover for yourself. You can make platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
That looked like it would be a huge deal to have something like that in the game. I wasn't a huge fan of the episodic nature of the expansions.
Yeah.
I would have rather them just made a third game. And they probably could have with all of the content that they had.
Yeah. I think the idea was they didn't want to spend a million years developing the game anymore. I think they wanted to do smaller games and put them out more frequently.
Yeah, but then they didn't.
Yeah, because they're Valve. They can't.
Yeah. If they did that, then sure, but they didn't.
Yeah. But it's just kind of they really could have just released episodes. And honestly, a Valve 8 is like another company's 10. Like it would have been fine. People would have loved it. Like maybe like you would have been upset you didn't push the envelope far enough, but like that's what Half-Life 3 would have been for.
I understand why they wouldn't want to release it, but we didn't get anything else.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bad move. But if they scrapped it for something better, sure. But it doesn't look like that's what they did. It looks like they scrapped it to have nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a little upsetting. I gotta watch that documentary.
Yeah.
Next, fans discover 21-year-old Disney survival horror game. What?
The 2003 action-adventure game Disney Piglet's Big Game, based on the film of the same name, is selling out fast online after the internet discovered it's essentially a horror game inspired by Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Piglet's Big Game didn't make as large of a splash as its namesake would suggest when it launched 21 years ago, receiving mixed reviews and fading into obscurity. However, gameplay clips are going viral right now because of a noteworthy similarity in tone and style to Silent Hill. Looking at the clips, it is very, very obvious that the folks at Doki Denki Studio were heavily and inexplicably inspired by Konami's opus when designing Piglet's Big Game, which, to remind you, is a Winnie the Pooh game starring a pink pig.
Oh, so this is an actual...
This is an actual...
I thought this was like an IP royalty-free situation, like when
like
copyright, like
the Winnie the Pooh horror movies.
Yeah.
No, this was an actual game sold for money 21 years ago that happens to be a Winnie the Pooh game inspired by like Silent Hill and like Resident Evil.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Might have to give this game a try.
I know. On the surface, it's easy to see and hear the similarities in a fixed camera and sound design, but digging into the game a little further as an admitted new fan, the story about the main character overcoming his fears in a horrific dreamlike world has some clear parallels to Silent Hill, and one scene in particular taking place in a library clearly has Resident Evil energy. Players who have direct experience with the game call it baby's first Resident Evil or Silent Hill.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Was this game rated any good?
I doubt it.
There are weird loading screens.
Yeah. The newfound popularity of the game is causing PS2 version of it to virtually sell out on US eBay at the time of writing. You can get other versions of the game, but their prices are quickly rising. A quick eBay search yields 2 GameCube versions, one that's asking for $52.57 with $30 shipping, and another asking for $300 US. Unless you are truly desperate to play Piglet's Big Game on console, this writer recommends taking a look at the PC copies, especially since the game's unlikely to retain its sky-high value for long.
70 on Metacritic.
Oh,
user score 6.
That's a lot higher than I thought it would be.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen this box art before.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I
that
love
we're,
shit
that we're
like this.
Going back to an old game like
an old Winnie the Pooh game.
All right, tweet of the week. Or should I say, Skeet of the week?
Are we really calling them Skeets?
I don't know what to do, Will. This is actually a tweet.
Yes.
It's from InfoWars.
Oh, yes. This is the best news ever.
And InfoWars tweets, "The Onion sucks." And this is actually posted on Blue Sky.
Yes.
And it is a guy that works for The Onion, and he says LMFAO. If you don't know the news, InfoWars was forced to sell all of their assets, including the IP.
Yes.
And The Onion bought it.
Yeah. That's like the best possible outcome you can do.
Pretty fucking awesome. So, yeah. Well, hey, we're on Blue Sky now.
Yes.
I've been using it a lot more than Twitter.
Yeah, I've more or less stopped using Twitter.
I wish there was more content on Blue Sky and an easier way to get all of it. I'm figuring it out more and more. Like, you can have different feeds, and you can kind of do this on Twitter too, where like I have a feed that is all video game stuff. I have a feed that's all Nintendo stuff. I have a feed that's all Steam Deck stuff, and there's just not a lot of content on there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can set it so that all of those feeds end up in your following feed. So now my following feed is people that I follow, as well as all of these other feeds. So there's a lot more content there. It's just the quality of content, though, that's in those other feeds is not that great. Man convinced coffee tastes better after making it in much more inconvenient way. I've seen that a million times.
I wanted to go on I want to go on Instagram to go to Threads real quick because I'm also like spending time on Threads. Not as fun as Blue Sky.
I actually really like Threads. I wish that I felt drawn to it more.
My problem with Threads is that it always defaults to like the For You page, like the random stuff, and it's like mostly people I don't want to hear from.
I kind of like the stuff that's been posted on Threads. Like whenever I'm on Threads, I like the stuff that I'm seeing.
Yeah, like they have good, like I do see good memes and stuff, and I do occasionally run across like, you know, people posting worthwhile stuff, but it's a lot of people I don't necessarily want to be friends with.
For whatever reason, you know, that's probably it. It's probably just Instagram people that I just don't care about.
Exactly.
And I like the people on Blue Sky more than I like the people on Threads.
But thanks to Threads, I now know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Party Wagon is currently $28 at Macy's right now.
Shit.
The original 1989 version.
I want the Federation to happen.
I
have federating enabled on Threads.
Yeah,
but they're supposed to do that on Blue Sky and they haven't. And I would love the integration, like having stuff on Blue Sky posted to Threads. That'd be great, or vice versa. But they haven't quite done that yet.
I just want to be able to post to both Blue Sky and Threads, like without having to post it individually in each app.
Well, that should be the federating.
I know there's an app that like that will do that for you, but I don't want to pay like $50 a year to do that.
I tried a bunch of stuff for Twitter and Blue Sky, and it all sucks.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to just copy and paste everything. And it is annoying. But I have been finding I also tried this with Threads. Like I tried to like use Threads more, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it for whatever reason. But Blue Sky is actually taking so far. Like I'm actually enjoying refreshing the feed on Blue Sky more than I did on Threads. And I've been using Twitter less. It's actually working a little bit. So, skeet me over at Blue Sky. All right, let's talk to you.
Yes. Starting with people who have comments on last week's Wulff Den podcast over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com.
We got DC Fat Cat who says, fun fact, the Backlog intro crashes the Xfinity X1 cable box into a really long reset. Like, not just YouTube, the whole cable box. My mom got really worried you broke her TV. There is a lot of noise. Let's watch it. Backlog. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And that's gotta be what it is. It's like such a hard, drastic change from this screen.
Yeah.
And then there's just a lot of white noise, so I could see it crashing something with really low processing power like a cable box. Oops, sorry. Kent Man says, that Dicky Panic joke sold you a shirt. Thanks, dude.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Jonathan Santiago says, man, the both sides of the legal argument are stretching so far apart. That line between emulation and piracy will blur even further. As Nintendo goes extreme, so will the emulation community. Yeah. I am not for the blurring of these lines. I want definitive lines. I want people need to be made aware that emulation is not piracy. That emulation could be so much more, and there can be so much done with emulation that does not hurt the property holder. That does not hurt the intellectual property holder, like modifications and stuff. Like, I want to be able to do what I want with my game, and sometimes that sells more games. So it sucks the way that things are going. Ivarto says, I love the coffee cups. Is there any possibility of doing it with color, like your favorite blue and white color scheme? It's called glitter something. It's called glitter. It's like a purplish. Can't really see with this color grade, but it's got a little bit of a color. I can't add color to it because I gotta order like 500 of them, and I'm not gonna do that. E Cakes says, like maybe an outline of the wolf without all the backsplash. Same size, just not all that. This isn't fucking like critique time. You know? They've already been made, all right? I can't go back in time and make them again.
I mean, like, if you don't like it, make your own Wulff Den shirt.
Don't buy it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't buy it. It's very easy.
Yeah.
All right, now we're in the chat.
Yes.
Does Mario live in the castle? Are you telling me? No, he does not.
He does not. No.
Multiple canons
Yeah.
show that he does not live in the castle. Are you telling me that all the times Mario saves Peach and the Mushroom Kingdom and they can't even give him a room in that big ass castle? I know, right? Give him a job.
I think he, like, I'm sure, like, if he needed to spend the night at the castle, they have a room for him. But he does not live there. He is not royalty.
Apparently, Stellar Blade is coming to PC in 2025, and the dev expects more sales on Steam than on PS5.
Yeah, because more people play games on PC.
Because of mods.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh.
People are going to go nuts.
They're gonna restore that costume that shows her labia.
And this is a perfect example of why mods are important for video games. And again, all this copyright stuff we talked about last week, they want to take that away from you.
Yes.
You legally purchasing Stellar Blade and modding it so you can see some titties?
Yeah.
The government wants to take that away from you.
Yes.
Will, did you pre-order that girthy $250 Joker 2019 McFarlane set?
No, because it is $250 for an action figure set from a movie I don't like.
What do you mean girthy?
It's a big box set because it comes with 2 figures, a couple of accessories. It comes with the night show stand, like play set, so you can recreate the famous scene in the movie Joker where he shoots Robert De Niro in the face. And it also has like props and stuff, like life-size props and stuff.
So you don't see his cock in it?
No, you don't see.
Okay, you misled me.
It's the McFarlane actually had to come out and like release a statement saying that like
you don't see his cock.
We understand it's $250 because it's based on an R-rated movie, and we wanted to include the gun because that's like the big thing from the scene. When he shoots Robert De Niro in the face, they had to market it as an adult collector, meaning they had to price it out of reach of children. Most children do not have $250 to spend on something like that.
I got the fix. Fucking sell it as a regular old thing and then sell the gun separately for like a lot of money.
Well, that's what they used to do, because Warner Brothers has this like thing where like any figure sold under a certain price point cannot come with guns. So McFarlane, they just released a weapons pack, a McFarlane branded weapons pack that they said you can use with any McFarlane action figure, meaning the DC figures. That's how they got around it. They're slowly starting to like break that. Like you can get a Jonah Hex that comes with his revolver for like $70, as he also comes with a horse. But like for Joker, it's like $250.
Everyone knows kids don't have jobs.
Yes.
So they can't afford
exactly
$250 Joker.
I did get the Norm Brayfogle Batman figure. That was a little bit too much money, but I do love it. It's standing on top of my. That's a good one.
War Machine says, have you heard that Dark Souls 3 is getting a remaster? Nope. Still not going to.
Why? Did they remaster all of them? They remastered the first one. They didn't do the second one.
They remastered the first one?
Yeah. That was the one they put on Switch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bob, you forgot to mention. I didn't forget to mention. I probably just don't. One of the company's subsidiaries is developer that worked on Octopath Traveler and Mario and Luigi Brothership, and Sony may buy them as
well. One of the...
Okay. Interesting.
That could be a problem.
Nintendo will just get another. They have
That's
so
true,
many
yeah.
people that would love to work on their stuff. Are you going to look at the chromatic Game Boy from Mod Retro? Yep, I have one coming to me. I saw people complaining that people are reviewing it and no one's mentioning Palmer Lucky like at all.
I watched the Linus Tech Tips like unboxing of it, and he mentioned it frequently during the. Even the fact that
he got it.
Yeah, he even brought up the fact that he's an arms dealer now, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I watched a whole documentary, and it was like a Bloomberg documentary where they like went with him to go shoot missiles, and they were like gassing him up.
Yeah,
they were like all about it. So let me be clear. This guy makes missiles for the government and also Game Boy.
Yeah.
Are you getting that white Steam Deck? No, I got to draw it somewhere.
Yeah.
A color is not going to sway me into spending $1,000. Will, can't you use, I think he means if this, then that, to automatically post to both?
Yeah, I guess.
That I've used that before for things, but I've since turned it off. And I've been doing everything manually.
I feel like
the functionality on that breaks pretty frequently.
Yeah, and I also feel like that's now more geared to like smart home stuff. So I feel like to have it tweet for me from Blue Sky and Threads just like isn't.
I'll look into that because I'm interested in doing that for some things. Speaking of action figures, can a developer make a Smash clone or beat 'em up using stop motion style action figure animation like those 80s toy commercials? I love the idea of playing with frame rates in video games, but it usually doesn't work out because people like high frame rates for faster inputs.
Yeah.
And you see it in stuff like Cuphead. Like Cuphead, the animations are low frame rates, but the game is 60 frames. So it looks a little weird. Like, the game's a beautiful game, but the assets move at a different frame rate than the animations that the assets have, and it looks a little bizarre. So a low frame rate, like stop motion animation for a fighting game, might be bizarre. But
sorry,
you're gonna say Clay Fighters?
No, I was gonna say
Clay Fighters. You should look at Clay Fighters. That's basically what it is.
I was gonna say like the Insomniac Spider-Man games, when you select the Spider-Verse costumes, like the frame rate of those costumes is different from the world around you. So like
that's like jarring and cool.
Yeah.
That's like a cool mix of frame rate.
If a game can like figure something like that, like maybe that could work.
Yeah, but like in what way would that make sense? I guess like a real world, and then there's like a stop motion toy in it.
Well, like what Death Stranding 2. It's got that stop motion toy character.
Yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah.
That looks really weird. Especially if you're controlling that thing.
Yeah.
But no, they made it work in Spider-Man.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking because like if it's a lower frame rate, but it still like works well in combat.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a way to do it.
I'm hoping if this then that gets a Blue Sky integration. Oh, it doesn't have that? Well, then that sucks.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Hollow Knight physics frame rate is 50 frames per second. Oh, that's weird.
That is interesting.
Very. Hey, Will, do you still game on your big Samsung TV?
I have not. I've also been very lazy / cheap with regards to getting new HDMI cables to fix my picture cutout issue. But I plan on doing it before Indiana Jones comes out. I feel like I should make a video on that. Like I actually like explain what my issue is, because whenever I try to explain it to people, they are confused. And I feel like
we figured it out, didn't we?
No, but I mean like why like it's so hard for me to just change the wire out.
Oh.
Because you know how my basement is.
Yeah, it's running through like
it's running up and around. But like when I try to explain this to people, they're like they don't understand it. So
once you have to run a cable through the wall, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It's not just running it through the wall, it's running it up and back around.
Yeah.
So
yeah. People are like, just do this. And like some, there's like electricians that can come and do it in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But most people think they got the solution, and then you come and do it, and it becomes complicated.
Yeah. So
I want to run a Ethernet cable up into one of the bedrooms.
Yeah.
And I was about to do it the other day. I cleaned out a closet so I could drill through the floor.
Yeah.
And then I looked up a video of a guy doing it, and I was like, forget the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing this. Have you never seen or been to a house with a basement? How are they?
What? We're in a basement.
I have never seen. He's never seen a basement.
Oh, you poor soul.
How is that possible? There are some houses on Long Island that don't have.
Yeah.
Like, some towns that just don't have basements.
If you know your history, Levittown, like one of the first major suburbs in the United States, built all their homes on like concrete slabs. So there are no basements. They're all just up. That's why people in Levittown are weird.
Analogy says California and Florida don't have basements. I understand Florida.
Yeah.
Because of the flooding, but California?
Again, weird.
That's weird.
A lot of Texas homes don't have basements either. God, what is wrong with you people?
Basements are weird. Animals don't like basements because they feel trapped.
Yeah.
And you probably do too.
Yeah.
I didn't see a basement until I was an adult. You guys are weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I don't like it.
I lived in a basement for a long time. All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for chatting with us. As always, the Wulff Den podcast is every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/WulffDen or youtube.com/WulffDen podcast. If you can't make the show for any reason at all, we always put the archive version up over on youtube.com/WulffDen podcast, so you can go check us out over there on demand whenever you want. But if you prefer to listen to us rather than watch us, then you can do that as well, because we're also an audio podcast on any and every podcast service, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible.com, Pocket Cast, YouTube Podcasts. But no matter where you get the show from, folks, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us, because that helps us with placement on all of those respective platforms.
And look at his shirt.
Yeah, we even got shirts now.
Knock everything over, why don't you?
WulffDenapparel.com. Get yourself a Wulff Den podcast specific t-shirt, because if you look closely, you can see me.
Yes, and he's wearing. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I'll have a video up on Thursday about the Trim UI brick. It's actually really cool. I thought I was going to hate it, and I actually really like it. I will also have a video on Sunday, I believe, if all things go well. Thanks for being here. Love you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.